Hello and welcome to the Nuclear Reactor, and today we'll be reacting to part 2 of What If Gine Went to Earth with Goku. I'm loving this series and I can't wait, so let's get started.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. Hey guys, Masako X here, and you know what time it is? It's April. It's time for yet another What If week, but I'm afraid I've got a bit of sad news. This will be, for the foreseeable future, the last What If week. But I'm not done with the What If-ery. So instead of waiting for a month, from the month of May onwards until Super comes back, we'll actually have one What If per week, as well as a discussion. So there is no need to wait for a
Oh, okay, because I've noticed him doing live discussions. It keeps popping up in my notifications. Oh, okay, so that's what he's doing. Okay.
month to get another dose of What If-ery. Variety is the name of the game. Now, speaking of what ifs, we're not done with What If week, so let's go on with this. And the topic of today is...
Speaking of what ifs, after I finish shooting this, I'm going to do the What If Rabbits Turn Good movies.
one that I really did not expect to take off so quickly. I mean, this is bordering on like What If Raditz turned good levels of notoriety.
Really?
And what am I talking about here?
Not crazy.
Well, it was actually one I'd put off for a very long time because I thought it wouldn't really do well. I didn't think anyone would be interested. But no. That is, What If Gine Went with Goku to Earth? I think it's safe to say that I had no idea that this scenario would blow up so much. I didn't know that you guys were so into Gine, but you guys want a part 2? Here you go. Age 737, the time when Planet Vegeta was still around, I mean barely, and Bardock had to be the one to save the Saiyans from the tyrannical Frieza. We all know how well that went. However, in this story, unknowingly, by telling Gine of their impending doom, Bardock not only saved his 2 children, but also his... I kind of want to say confidant? It's hard to call Gine his wife because Saiyans don't really do that whole monogamy, marriage type of thing that we humans do. So I thought to myself, by combining elements of the Dragon Ball Minus manga composed by Toriyama himself, so it's the manga canon, as well as the Bardock TV special that we're all very familiar with, we could actually come up with a really good facsimile to then build up a really compelling story. We managed to get Gine to get inside the same pod that her child Kakarot was in, and they both...
Yeah, and like you said, with it being the notoriety of it and being like second, I love this one. This my favorite 2 on here are this one and the What If Raditz, but I'm also gonna still keep doing the What If Goku is female, and then I've got to do the one about Hercule, and then what was it? Okay, anyway, I got a couple more on my list to do, but I'm gonna try to keep it at like 3 or 4 for now. What I'm reacting to with those, because I have other videos to react to as well, but I'll try to keep these coming out.
Ended up on Earth. And thanks to the kindness of Grandpa Gohan, as well as the awareness of the Saiyan traits, all 3 of them managed to survive to this day. And not only that, the whole shock of them being Saiyans is rendered somewhat moot, because Gine could basically explain everything to everyone. A little kid Kakarot could just go,
"Oh, I'm a Saiyan."
and then just go from there. And I think it's quite safe to say that both of them find something that they want in life. Kakarot gets to be able to be a young boy, carefree, doesn't have to fight, but fights for pleasure. And Gine, who for a Saiyan was relatively weak, but on the Earth is completely mighty.
I still don't think she's weak. I'm sure she could kick some ass.
Just can live out an existence of peace and just do what she wants and just not have to worry about Frieza anymore. So we jump to age 750, and Kakarot has been discovered by Bulma, and the pair of them then go out on their mystical adventure to go and find Dragon Balls. So where does Gine stack up in all of this? Well, not really much at all, because remember the Emperor Pilaf saga, it was mainly just introducing the basic characters, Kakarot, Bulma, Yamcha, etc. I guess the only real difference here is that the young Saiyan is slightly stronger than he is in the original story, because remember, Gine may be weak for the typical Saiyan, but in terms of an Earthling's power, she's an absolute beast. She just doesn't want to show it. She is more than powerful enough to take on Kakarot sparring with her every now and again. Just because she doesn't want to fight, she's not going to deny that pleasure from her son. And I guess the only other difference in this arc worth mentioning is that of what happens at Fire Mountain. Kakarot will be talking to Chi-Chi and mention that he has a grandpa and a mother. After further prying and the gang have just suddenly disappeared, I'm pretty sure that Chi-Chi would then tell her father, the Ox King, that Kakarot, the young man that she wants to marry, has a single mother. He too is single because his wife died
Please don't,
when
please.
Chi-Chi was a young baby.
I'm begging you, please do not put the Ox King with her. Please, 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 please don't.
So, you know, you might want to get in there. Chi-Chi might say, oh, this might be really cute for you. And Ox King will be, I think he'd be at least a little bit interested in at least meeting Gine eventually. After beating Pilaf and the gang and parting company with Bulma and Yamcha and Oolong and whatnot, Kakarot would then return home to tell Gohan and Gine everything about his fantastic adventure, telling Gohan how much stronger he'd gotten, yet also admitting the fact that he had gone Ozaru. Gine would just simply hug him and tell him, it's okay, you didn't mean to, and ultimately, it actually saved him and his friends, so maybe this was a blessing in disguise. So remember that Gohan was curious about the Dragon Balls and whether they were a legend or not? Well, Kakarot would also say that, yeah, it's indeed true, they do grant wishes. Gohan would be like, oh, really? Well, what did you wish for, dear boy?
Panties.
What?
Panties. Oolong said that he wanted panties, so he got it.
Oh.
Still got that cough from my cold.
Sounds like Roshi all over again. Kakarot would then talk about the Ox King and ask whether Gohan knows about him. And of course he does. They trained together a long time ago under Master Roshi. The boy would then turn to his mother and say, quite bluntly, because Kakarot does do that,
He's single, by the way, Mom.
and understandably, Gine would be blushing uncontrollably and say,
Thank you, Kakarot, sweetie.
fast forward to the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, and the same thing happens again. The events stay relatively the same, except for the fact that Kakarot's fight with Jackie Chun is a lot more closer than it was in the original story. Now you might be thinking the Red Ribbon Army is pretty much the same thing. Well, it does start a little differently. Instead of Kakarot going out on a specific adventure to find the 4-star Dragon Ball, because, you know, Grandpa Soul's in there and stuff, Kakarot is simply flying around on the Flying Nimbus just for the hell of it. Because now that he's out there and gotten a taste for the world, he wants to go and explore more of it. And Gohan and Gine are more than happy for him to do that. He's got the Nimbus, he's more than capable of taking care of himself. He's stronger than pretty much anyone else on the planet, really. It's only after bumping into Pilaf and then ultimately Colonel Silver that everything starts to coalesce with the original timeline again. Next up is the assault on Muscle Tower, and that plays out the same again. Only this time, the fight between Kakarot and Major Metallotron is a lot less one-sided. The resurrection of Upa's...
I need to go back and watch Dragon Ball, because I'm trying to remember all this, but the majority of the Dragon Ball series I watched, I was like 9 and 10. I've gone back for some of it, but I really need to redo that.
His father, Bora, carries on as per usual. Now, you might be thinking that, oh, Dragon Ball's just going to play out the same. Well, I think the next turning point is going to be the King Piccolo saga. This is the first time in Dragon Ball's history that the entire planet is at risk. And this is something that Gine hoped would never happen. She can't just hide in the forest with Gohan anymore. Why is that? Well, starters, she's at the World Martial Arts Tournament already. She's already in the thick of it. Before Krillin is murdered, she and Gohan and the rest of the gang are celebrating Tenshin Han's victory at the tournament. The death of Kakarot's best friend, though, is enough to bring everyone to tears. From there, Kakarot's assault on Tambourine, the
That
death
was
of
so sad when Krillin died.
Piccolo's children, the near victory of King Piccolo over Goku the first time round, pretty much play out the same, including the time when Roshi lured out King Piccolo in order to use the Mafuba. This time though, Roshi's not doing this alone. He is fighting alongside Grandpa Gohan as well as Gine. What? Masuka, I thought you said Gine didn't want to fight. Well, that is true, but I guess in this situation...
Wow, she looks so cool. I love the character of Gine. I like that a lot, and I wish that she would have been in there in the canon. Like, I know she is in the minus manga canon, but I mean the actual canon in the show. That'd been so cool.
When the world's at stake, she doesn't really have much of a choice. She's not gonna let this upstart take away everything that she holds dear. This life that she has right now means so much more than the one she had before. Back on planet Vegeta, she was branded a weakling and good for nothing other than just cooking. Here, She's got a family. She's got friends.
Misogyny.
And her little son is just so daft and goofy, but so happy. It's just, yeah, she is fighting for just what she loves. So I can imagine that Roshi's about to square up with Piccolo, but Gine would then say, let me do it. And Roshi's going, are you sure? But Gine tells them to get on with the Martha thing and charge it up and get it ready. She will manage to distract Piccolo. Speaking of which, the king is bemused as to why a lowly woman would be doing the work of a man. Why are these two masters doing nothing against me, but then this little wench is thinking that she can take on the mighty King Piccolo? But his derision is swiftly silenced when basically Gine wails on him. Remember in part 1 that I said Gine's power level was probably around 500? That is really weak for a Saiyan, because Raditz at 1200 was branded as a weakling. If Gine was even lower than that, then oh boy. In King Piccolo's present state, he hasn't actually become young again. He is less than half of that power. King Piccolo is on the brink of death. He does not know what to do. But then he finds out that this person is the mother of the child that he basically left for dead. He could use that to his advantage. He decides to use emotional tactics to try and even out the playing field. Gine doesn't believe this for a second though. Go on. Try and find him. I know you can do it. Roshi would have taught you that. She tries to sense for Kakarot's presence, but she can't sense anything. Now remember, Kakarot's still alive, but he's barely hanging on and currently being transported to Korin's tower with Yajirobe. But
okay, I remember the King Piccolo saga, but I seriously do not remember Goku being barely alive. Okay. I really need to go back and look at this stuff.
basically the power signature, basically non-existent. Gine is then distracted, and King Piccolo goes on the offense. However, all of this time was more than enough for Gohan and Roshi to prepare the Mafuba technique. And just when Piccolo thinks he's about to deal some kind of devastating blow, he's caught up in it. The technique goes off without a hitch, Roshi stays alive and is uninjured, and everybody can basically go home for tea. Why is that, Masako? Well, Roshi didn't have to fight Piccolo. He has more energy, so he can just about hang on there. And he does have Gohan there to back him up. As that fight's going on, Kakarot is up at Korin's tower, receiving some sensu beans and receiving the Ultra Divine Water, because remember, in the manga, he doesn't actually go through all of those trials, he's basically just given the water immediately. The Saiyan child is ready to go down and take on King Piccolo a second time.
Because I do remember him getting the Ultra Divine Water after going through those trials, but I honestly I never read the manga for Dragon Ball, only have watched the series.
But Korin just goes, "Now wait a second there, bub. I can sense something." Well, looks like your dame of a mother managed to take care of King Piccolo for you, pal. Kakarot is left stunned. He has no idea how his own mother managed to take on King Piccolo when he could barely do anything. It doesn't occur to him that his own mother is actually stronger than him, because she's never really exhibited all that much strength. Because there was no need
Mothers
to.
are always
As the rest of the
stronger.
gang gather the Dragon Balls and wish back anyone that was affected by King Piccolo and his children, Gine has to come to terms with something. That complete life of peace and not having to think about fighting that she wanted oh so much, she's going to have to make some compromises, I'm afraid. Despite her doubts, she's basically going to have to be Earth's protector. Who'd have thunk it, eh? Roshi and Gohan are still quite surprised by the terms of events, but they are very thankful for her support. Kakarot then wants Gine to teach him everything that she knows, and in return, he will teach her the Kamehameha. She just finds this all rather sweet and goes, "Yeah, sure, honey. Sure, darling." She's still a little overwhelmed by the entire proceedings, but is just glad that her son is now alive and well. Once he finds the power pole, they both get up on Nimbus and then head up to Korin's tower. He wants Korin to train the pair of them, but he's simply not strong enough anymore. "Nah, pals, you basically gotta go up a little higher." In return, Kami offers them anything that they desire.
I love that. And I love how he's just so good at all the different voices. I love that.
Kakarot immediately jumps up and says,
I want to train with you, and so does my mom.
but before that Gine can actually have a rebuttal, Kami just goes, "Ah, I see. Very well." Gine is still a little bit apprehensive, but remembering the wicked face of King Piccolo in her mind, she decides to accept the challenge and ultimately trains with her son. Very good bonding time. 3 years pass and Kakarot is now an adult. He and Gine are now much stronger than they were before the 3 years began. Thanks to the power of Sensu Bean's Zenkai boosts, as well as the fact that basically it's two Saiyans fighting each other, Gine has broken through the 1000 power barrier, and Kakarot is not far behind. Keen to test his power, Kakarot suggests that they go to the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament and see how well they could do, ultimately maybe fighting in the final together. But Gine doesn't want that. She did not get all of this power to then just show it off to the world. She would only want to use it as a last resort. Kakarot? Yeah, absolutely. He can do what he wants. And ultimately, I think we know he is going to dominate, because without Piccolo Jr. there, because King Piccolo never spouted an egg, it's going to be quite obvious who's going to win. Instead, the final would actually be between Kakarot and Hero, Kami's disguise. I think this would be a great fight, acting as some kind of rites of passage for the young Saiyan, to show how far he'd come, and basically, Kami can just be all calm about this, there's no endangerment, this is just a friendly little spar, and actually getting to be down on planet Earth for once. Be that as it may, Kakarot would still go on to win the championship at his 3rd attempt. He would then go on to marry Chi-Chi, and Gine would finally meet the Ox King. Do they get hitched though? I don't think so. Well, I don't think Gine's the kind of person that would fall in love so readily. And remember, Saiyans have a very weird concept of love. And I imagine that the Ox King would be very reluctant to let the past go and completely forget about his wife from all of those years ago. Their kids are actually getting married anyway, so if they got married too, nah, I think we should leave that untouched.
Yeah.
Good friends though. 5 years later, after the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, the Earth has been at peace for quite some time. Gine and Kakarot have been quietly practicing with Gohan, but for the most part, they've been just chilling out. Now that Chi-Chi's around, little Gohan's there, it's a really nice family union. Can you imagine the family portrait? It'd be so sweet. It's time for another Saiyan to arrive on Earth, and this one could tip the balance in some very big ways. This is of course Kakarot's brother,
Raditz. Oh, I really hope he doesn't cut it here. Please tell me he doesn't cut it here. I really wanted to go on to the next part.
as well as Gine's firstborn, Raditz. He is simply here to cause havoc and bring his brother back to the fold, but he's not counting on what's about to happen next. Raditz senses two extremely high power levels around Kamehouse's location and is very keen to try and take them on. They're roughly about the same level as him. When he gets there, he is surprised and delighted to find his brother there, and immediately wants to actually recruit him. But of course, Kakarot's simply unwilling to join him. But then, as this commotion's going on, Gine steps out, asking what is all this fuss about, and is then completely stunned. Right there, right in front of her, she sees both her boys, together, for the first time in, like, over 20 years. Her eyes meet with Raditz's. Mother? And that's where we'll leave things, I think. What does Raditz do now? Does he carry on his plan and recruit Kakarot and destroy the planet Earth? Or does he take a different turn? Now, instead of leaving this to a poll like I usually do, I'm actually going to keep this a secret. The drama is really high with this.
Oh, that is mean. That'll be cool. I can't wait for the next part.
One, and I want to make sure it's absolutely perfect, so look forward to part 3 when that comes around. So what do you guys think? Do you think Gine's reluctant decision to join the fighting team was a good idea?
I'll have to look and
How
see
do
if
you
part
feel
3's
about
out.
her being potentially the strongest fighter on Earth up until the beginning of Z, as well as Kakarot? Leave a comment below, and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!
And thank y'all for recommending this to me. This is so cool. I really appreciate it all. And I'm gonna check and see if part 3 is out. And then if it is, I'm gonna go right into that, and I'll set it up for sometime for either this coming up week or next week in the come out. But this one will be coming out tonight. It's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning right now. So as soon as I get it edited and everything, it'll be going out. But thank y'all. On to the next one. Bye.